Hi again. John Stott, his commentary on Acts 27, verses 13 to 20 here, and then 21 to 38. Storm at sea. When a gentle south wind began to blow, they thought they had obtained what they wanted, so they weighed anchor and sailed along the shore of Crete. Before very long, a wind of hurricane force called the northeaster swept down from the island. The ship was caught by the storm and could not head into the wind, so we gave way to it and were driven along. As we passed to the lee of a small island called Cauda, we were hardly able to make the lifeboat secure. When the men had hoisted it aboard, they passed ropes under the ship itself to hold it together. Fearing that they would run aground on the sandbars of Syrtis, they lowered the sea anchor and let the ship be driven along. We took such a violent battering from the storm that the next day they began to throw the cargo overboard. On the third day they threw the ship's tackle overboard with their own hands. When neither sun nor stars appeared for many days and the storm continued raging, we finally gave up all hope of being saved. To which Stott says, the gentle southerly breeze which arose deceived them into thinking that they could manage another 40 miles. But a wind of hurricane force, literally typhonic in Greek, called the northeaster, swept down from the Cretan mountains, forcing the ship to scud before it. Already the vessel was in great danger, for once blown out of the lee of Crete, there were no more harbors, only the open sea. It's fascinating to read the 5 precautionary measures which the crew now took in their desperate attempt to save their ship. First, briefly exploiting what little shelter Cauda or Clauda Island could offer them, they just managed to haul on board their lifeboat or dinghy. Actually, Luke writes that we did it because he lent a hand himself, although only with great difficulty. He adds, probably remembering his blisters. That's a comment from F.F. Bruce's commentary on Acts. Secondly, they frapped the vessel. I've never heard that word before. Either by passing cables under her hull to hold her timbers together, or by lashing her stern and bow together above deck to prevent her from having her back broken. Thirdly, fearing the Syrtis sandbanks, which, although many miles south off the Libyan coast, were dreaded by all Mediterranean sailors, they lowered either the mainsail, the New English Bible version, or more probably the sea anchor, to act as a brake as they drifted onwards. Fourthly, on the following day, as the relentless battering of the storm continued, they jettisoned some of the cargo. And fifthly, on the third day of the tempest, they threw overboard as many parts of the ship's tackle or equipment as could be spared. Then, finally, after many days, 11 more to be precise, of raging storm, with neither sun nor stars to guide them, and of course in those days no compass or sextant either, the whole ship's company seems to have given up all hope of being saved. But it was in that crisis of despair that Paul stepped forward with a word of encouragement. Now he has the subhead, Paul's 3 interventions. So far in the Acts, Luke has depicted Paul as the apostle to the Gentiles, the pioneer of the 3 missionary expeditions, the prisoner, and the defendant. And now, however, he portrays him in a different light. He's no longer an honored apostle, but an ordinary man among men, a lonely Christian, apart from Luke himself and Aristarchus, among nearly 300 non-Christians, who were either soldiers or prisoners, or perhaps merchants or crew. Yet Paul's God-given leadership gifts clearly emerge. And there's William Barclay writing, it is quite certain that Paul was the most experienced traveler on board that ship. Even Ernst Haenchen, the fairly skeptical commentator on Acts, who scornfully dismisses Luke's portrait of him as only a mighty superman, even Haenchen concedes that Luke fails to draw our attention adequately to Paul's expertise as a seasoned seafarer. He catalogues the apostle's 11 voyages on the Mediterranean before he set sail for Rome, and calculates, though he leaves us to do the addition some, that Paul had traveled at least 3,500 miles by sea. Yet it was more than mature experience at sea which made Paul stand out as a leader on board ship. It was his steadfast Christian faith and character. I'll put in a link to why we can trust Luke and the New Testament, but not the Watchtower. See you soon.